the little highlight, Papa talking about total domination and not what we got to see here on the very first map of the series, kicking off the playoffs. Abyss. This was Envy's pick, and it came close, Roy, but no dice, no overtime. M80 to steal the first map pick.
To make sure he's not grinning here. Are you grinning? You're grinning.
No, I'm not. Not yet. Not yet. Okay? It's only listen. It's the first map. We're not trying to get ahead of ourselves. We're not trying to. We're not trying to caster's curse, as they say. We're keeping it tame. We're keeping it tame. But there is one thing for us to keep in mind, guys. Right? Despite this being a very close 13-11 victory for M80, Rankers did win both pistols. That is 4 rounds that they got off the backs of that. So this is actually a very convincing gun round win for M80.
I feel like there was just a roller coaster in the green room, like, oh no, they're so back. Oh, it's so cooked. It's so over. Van's like, you were determined that this was going to an overtime at one point. Like, it was nuts.
Yeah, I just feel that the double duelist coming out here from AB81 was very, very strong, and it was hard at the very beginning here for Rankers to take care of. But also when you're trying to play your attack side, because I was like, oh, well, this is going to be okay. I mean, Sato's getting the dives in. He's getting good op shots. He's creating some space. Clean shots with the daggers too, for example. But once we got into the second half, I was like, dude, this is still an attacker side at half. This is going to be fine here for Rankers to move forward. But there's just been like little micro things that just is uncommon coming out of Rankers or Envy at that point, where they're not as crispy as usual when it comes down to these disrespecting fights. It looked whiffy from time to time, but I think this is just like, dude, I can't believe I'm saying this, but it's probably like first org jitters for Envy because of now Roy's theory.
He's coming along. He's coming along.
Slowly, but really not there yet. You know,
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, you know, I'm in the same boat as you.
Okay.
I mean,
I can settle for that.
Even highlighting something earlier was, okay, well, we keep highlighting different teams that can shoot back, and Rankers not really having difficulty with that. But M80, they definitely put their foot to the pedal and were able to deliver just as much firepower back. So combined with the fact we haven't seen Rankers for a minute, maybe the org debuff theory, I don't know. I'm not ready to fully admit it yet when we're looking here. And the fact that M80 is a team that's been scaling, I think this was really impressive across the board. And MVP B-Dog, I mean, this is somebody too that we get a different feature of players later, but it was kind of a shame that B-Dog's also not on their Vans because he had a performance.
Oh, definitely. He was a key component to M80's style. But I think just in general of M80, when we praised how Rankers were good at like catching timings or whatnot against their opponents, even just for example, the last round where M80 was retaking onto that site on that 4v2, sometimes you just want to go with the protocols, knowing what M80 could do as a unit from time to time.
Yeah.
But I guess it goes back to those moments once again where if they're going to try, speaking about Envy, break your timings and not allow for you to set up, sometimes you're just going to brute force your way in and make sure that you trade through. Because I was going to look at, oh, wait, they don't have a flash. They can't combine it with the recon dart that's about to come up. And then it comes up, but then they didn't time it together. But they still won the fights because you have B-Dog that comes in with a double kill. Then you have Okeanos that just comes in with a double kill as well. So coming in with that brute force, toe-to-toe fighting, man, again, another point where Roy's right again at the beginning of this map, because I said against TSM had no chance, but then against M80 looks like they're able to fight back.
Yeah, I just want to wait. Can I just bask in this? This is the only time I've gotten credit from Vance. I just need to bask in this for a few seconds here, if you guys don't mind.
I'm glad we're off camera right now because I'm just shaking my head as I had to say that statement after, you know. So I'm just rubbing my forehead. I was like, I can't believe I'm agreeing with Roy now.
Roy, take all the time. Take all the time you need. I want to go back to this double duelist composition that M80 was bringing out. And I think this is really interesting because one of those development things that we're seeing from M80 is Okeanos off the duelist role into that flex role. But then going into this double duelist for some of these maps, you really get to play to the strength of Oki as well as the star duelist. And Roy, when we're looking at a map like Abyss and these two shining, I love this. I think M80, they've got a really special thing here with these two players, and they have the flexibility for the non-double duelist maps. Like, this is so clean.
Yeah, I completely agree. I mean, just between Sato and Okeanos, they have so many first kills, and then you add B-Dog in there, and suddenly you see a matchup where they're completely mopping the openers. This is something that is pretty rare because Kane Zera and Rankers have been very dominant in the openers. Their style is very like spread you thin, allow Kane Zera to get his 1v1s, which is a bit of a question and why I was confused as to why they picked Abyss, because I feel like this is the one map where the teams are just so like condensed all the time on defense. It's quite hard to find your timings. It's really like awkward to like have like really well established lurks. So it's a little bit weird, but I think I think you guys are absolutely right. I think the Eurojet put in work. I think B-Dog on the Omen, despite him also having great utility, he was also popping off. They matched the firepower, and it felt like Rankers just fell a little bit short.
And they almost made it through, though, to push us into overtime, because I think it got to a point in that second half where Rankers were like, you know what? Us trying to default and trying to rotate the map, manipulate the map to force these rotates when you don't really have that strong of a comp to get full control of, for example, middle. Thinking of G2, they add the fault line on top of the recon dart to allow your Euro to move up, but you don't really have that because you're playing double controller on one side here for Envy. So at that point, they're like, hey, let's just brute force our way in and let's just fight as a pack into these moments. And it almost worked because M80 had one of those moments where they tried to play a retake 4 versus 5, I think, when it came down towards that B site, and they got thrashed. And then it all came down to that 24th round where that, again, you needed that double kill from 2 players for M80 to win that first map.
I mean, the map was close, but in the end, it is still an M80 win, and that has serious implications for the rest of the series looking at this map too, because this is not only M80's pick, but it's something that we've gotten to see M80 on a lot recently and doing really strong with these changes, whereas the last time Envy was here, this is how they started off their Swiss stage. This was the only loss that they took in that Swiss stage with a composition, Roy, that didn't seem to quite click for them. So of course there's the opportunity to change it up for today, but when you're up against this M80 that's kind of cooking, I'm a little worried.
No, absolutely. And I think you have like a right to be concerned, to be honest, because let's look at it this way, right? When you're like an IGL or a coach, there's a couple different veto strategies that you can think of, right? Like, do we want to tailor to our own team strength and pick maps we're really good at? Do we want to pick maps that we know the enemy team is weak at, but it's not really our best map, right? There's so many like questions and philosophies in terms of how to choose maps. Abyss was one of those maps where like it wasn't really a very dominant map for Rankers, but it was, their last showing for M80 wasn't great, so they kind of picked it, and I feel like they sort of got baited. But now we're headed into Lotus, a map that M80 is both super dominant on and Rankers have not really looked great on. So it's like a double whammy that it works heavily in favor for M80, in my opinion.
Especially too, B-Dog was someone that we highlighted on Abyss that did really, really well. In the last Lotus appearance, he was also cooking. So M80 does move away from that double duelist, but this really gets to showcase that rest of the depth of the team that they have here, Vans. So yeah, M80, they were only at 60% power near the end of Swiss, and we've been scaling on that for sure.
Yeah, I think there's something about VCL and controllers on a map like Lotus that they just are able to pop off him, speaking about B-Dog, just knowingly from M80, but you have Sacred that also popped off in previous weeks as well. But you're looking at this where this second map is a little bit scary going into the point of view of Envy, because you talked about it, Sierra, and the opening they had against Blue Otter, and they lost here against Blue Otter, came out with a very interesting composition with, I think it was a solo initiator as a Tejo. So you're really, the only way that you're able to get good information here out of this team was maybe off like a Cypher cam. So your default that exactly, or a Tejo drone that doesn't have, you don't have refreshable utilities. That is what I'm trying to get to.
Yeah,
so if you're trying to default across somewhere like that on the attack side, and you lose your camera and you have to drone very early, then it's very hard for you to get some cycle of utility for your second wave on your actual hits within the site. But it makes your defensive side even more difficult because you don't have any active, strong, deep information with those scans. So there you go. We changed to something good.
We're changing a lot here. Oh my goodness, both teams switching things up. M80, Oki on the Tejo, before it was the Fade. We got Sato on the Neon. Rankers completely switch it up. Roy, what is happening?
I actually a really big fan of these changes for both teams, to be honest. Vans was talking about the lack of information. Rankers pulled out the Fade. We talking about Kane Zera. He's one of the best ISOs in the league. He pulls it out here as well. Last time he played, I believe it was the... wait, let me double check this real quick. I believe he was either the Rays. I don't remember who he was on that map, to be honest. It was a while ago. I think he was the Rays, I'm pretty sure, but the ISO is significantly better. But now we're going into the Neon, which is a really good agent. She can bypass a lot of that linear utility, and I feel like this matchup should be pretty good on paper.
Yeah, and also looking at M80 side, when you have a Neon out of this composition, I think it's quite good. I think it fits Sato quite well, and it's starting to make me think, or if M80 goes into these maps later on in the playoffs where they don't play like arrays often, is that going to hurt them in the future? But nonetheless, a Tejo and a Breach around this Neon is going to be very good to play with in the M80 playstyle.
Drastic changes coming out from both the teams. M80 one map away from progressing on in the upper bracket of the playoffs. Let's see if they can take down their map pick as it's time to head over to Lotus. It's your casters, Shift and Wyatt.
Yeah, thanks, Desk. This is definitely an intriguing switch-up for both these two squads. And I think, you know, kind of seeing it from M80's perspective, yeah, the ability just to dominate space immediately, especially when they're on the offensive side, is going to be disgusting. For Rankers, though, does this feel a little one-dimensional in certain ways? Like just kind of banking that Zera can just use the self-shield instant first blood as a way of entry?
It definitely can be. It's very reminiscent of what we just saw T1 run with on this map throughout Stage 1 in Pacific, but then also most recently at Masters, which they won. So like,
True.
it's very similar. They're running the double duels with the ISO. They have a Yoru instead of a Raze, but similar enough, and it's exactly the style of play that Rankers like to lean into. I agree with the Desk. I like the switches from both of these comps.
Does feel like a little bit of a rock, paper, scissors matchup right here, where you've got, you know, something by design that's supposed to work out for both these two teams. Do they counter each other? Oh, opening shot's not there for Inspire. Sato just dancing with him, finding the first blood. That opens up this flank now completely. And Bao, I think, has read the presence over towards C. Prowler pushes him off the angle, but it's not a deep scale through the C side. It's over towards Waterfall. Sato, Caillou right there to deal with it. Paranoia doesn't even be needed. Extra trying to follow up on the damage, and he's able to take down two. Resets, but caught completely as Bao will come back into the site, find the elimination, and win the pistol for M80.
A nice final little stun there from Okeanos to seal things up. I love that pistol round from M80. The protocols were really nice. They have that trap set up early on B. If no one's there, all right, cool. We'll triple push out, try and cut off one of the rotators when they're hitting C. They get that kill, instantly go back to the team to set up a full 5v4 retake over from Halls, Waterfall, and their push-out pressures that someone could be coming from Mound. That was really excellent start to the game for M80. This team is really leveled up from where they were at in the regular season, which was still good, of course. They made playoffs, right? But you expect so much from the M80 name, and it looks like they're really starting to live up to it.
And I think the thing about it is, again, just going back to the point, Sato is still new to this roster, and they look well developed. Good information here from Bao. I mean, he sees everything. So the quick rotation going to come through B. A lurk possibly on the way from Inspired. There is a trap in his way, though. And as Bao will be pushed off the angle deep through C. Actually, Rankers are just trying to force this. Not going to come through to delay this even further. Aftershock just to make sure there is no push-up, but this has taken a lot of space away from this M80 post plan. Inspire. Oh, no! The right click's just tracing the outline of B-Dog, and the retake from M80 has found success through the backside of C.
That is an absolute disaster, Sato. In, trades out. But it's just not enough. Numbers overwhelming from M80. Superior weaponry overwhelming. Yikes, that is a disaster from Inspire. He always catches some really nice lurk timings on attack, and he's usually good for the kill on them, but an unfortunate way to go down.
And just maybe even more punishing is the simple fact that, again, it's just the right click out of all of the burst that comes with it. Only a bullet or two is hitting per shot. It's kind of tracing the outline of his head. And this play initially starts to look pretty decent in terms of like the deep scale backside of C, especially with Ion on this corner with the shorty, but then you get an opportunity to find the trade and the weapon's just too strong, especially with the slide presence that Sato brings to the picture. So M80 now onto their bonus. Had a couple of repurchases have to come through though, and that'll be enough for Rankers to hold a bit of an edge. The door towards Tree gets triggered. So Rankers will respect that for a moment. You can see the fault line still being held. Okeanos gonna look for a quick peek with Sato here.
Double concuss comes through. Sato with the first.
Oh, tries to slip away. Not gonna happen though. 3 for 2. The exchange favoring that of Rankers. And the A site is open. B-Dog still maybe a chance on this cross. A cyber cage delaying him for a moment. He's also trying to wait for a little bit of help from Bao. And wow, just peeks it with the Stinger. Can now upgrade the weaponry. And there's a very real chance at this 2v2.
Gonna be able to grab the Vandal as well. Love how B-Dog played that. Activates the door and then goes up top. That is so cheeky to find the kill. That is a sick play.
Completely bamboozles Ion. Poppin has some utility to delay this. And is gonna try to track behind, give himself an angle at the toggle. Here's the first peek. couple of shots do come through. B-Dog gets off for a moment. Haunt puts both players down below HP for just a bit. Now it's the second toggle. You have to hold this if you're B-Dog. Spam shots are good. Poppin', looking to follow up. It does get to halfway. Shots are not initially there. No way! He doesn't predict the right angle on the defuse. And M80 sneak one out of the dark cover for a 3-0 edge.
B-Dog just being able to stick that barely to half was enough. He played that whole round in such sick fashion. He had a Bulldog below him, but he didn't want to pick it up, just wanted to wait with the stinger out, not make any noise. Swings onto Inspire to get that kill. This opening the door and teleporting on top Rubble was so cool. I don't think I've ever seen anyone do that before. He did, in fact, bamboozle that man. M80 had a terrible bonus round buy, too, and they convert. I can't believe that.
Pain early here for the Rankers. They've also lost the front doors at A. Spycam, similar position from what we saw from Val before. This found so much info. This time he has to get out of it pretty quickly. It's still active, though. Smoke also in play, but the presence of this dimensional drift is quite menacing, and that's a lot of information. Next, we're just going to gate crash back to set up this post plant.
Yeah, Raker's able to get this full buy because Exeter just commits to a Buffy, and they got the plant down on the last round, so very winnable for them. The positioning isn't great right now, though. They don't have control of Waterfall or Halls. They're all grouped up in the site.
This is taking time, though. Here comes the salvo. That will open the doors. Paranoia also cutting through the site. M80 looking to get platform control first. Nightfall coming through, though, to try to keep Rankers on the site. 2 for Poppin' before dropping. Time now becoming a major issue. Good angle from Kane's-Zera. Follow-up from Ion. Good headshot comes through, and Rankers hold on to the post play to get themselves on the board.
That Nightfall that countered M80 getting back into the site from Poppin' was perfectly timed and was absolutely the catalyst to that round win. If he had not gotten it off in that exact moment, that probably would have been another round win for M80. Rankers had no control over the site whatsoever. That was so important to keep them in this game.
Critical Nightfall as well. Just so many delay tactics for the Rankers. Still enough for some sort of a full purchase. Sato, fast lane. Looking to take some control and some assistance out of the salvo to hold Rankers back just a touch, but still committing for this. There's the relay bolt. Paranoia on the way in, but Rankers getting punished here. Kane, the first one to drop. Eggster gets behind the play, though, to trade it out. We go 4v4 early. Armageddon also called here. I mean, this is a lot of commitment for M80 on the utility to stop the play towards A. It doesn't fully work out. The only thing now in the way are the trap wires and the spy cam. Reveal coming through for a small moment, but Bao's got nowhere to go, and Rankers will take the site.
They are so overwhelming with the aggression. Caillou 1 away from getting the Rolling Thunder. Maybe could find 1 kill, rip that, and convert the round.
Problem is, this post plant is quite dynamic. Paranoia coming through. Poppin' finds one. There's the Rolling Thunder, both arms up. Everyone now popped up into the air. But this smoke allows a chance for a bit of a reset. What a teleport for Ion! Able to still find one before being traded and Inspire on the open angle through A main. Finds the final elimination, and now Rankers back in this game quickly.
They are just so swift to get through tree together. That C's back sight that connected onto Bao was really perfect. Had that not hit, might have been looking at a different round because they still had to contend with the Cypher utility in the chokes in that moment, but he just couldn't really get onto a good angle. Even get the Armageddon out on top of everything else, and they break the economy of M80. Right back into the game.
Yeah, that's a massive commitment from M80 to try to hold the front doors at A. This time, it's just going to be the overdrive. Trap wire, though, in the way. Inspire finds the freebie. Neuralset's also called in, but Bao is able to convert the trade. That's going to be a weapon now collected. Offense quickly on towards A for post plant setup, though. Spycam will reveal this, and Poppin will set up a post plant a little bit closer towards the middle of the map as Kane's-Zera is going to work alongside Ion to make sure there's no rotation through B.
Ion trying to hold it down. Stealth drone will reveal that position. Can just wait with the Paranoia. Wants to keep fighting.
Trying to get something off the bounce pass, not fully going to work. And how about Ion locking things down? No rotation allowed through B. Again, weapon superiority coming through as we're tied at 3, but still a clean offensive take from Rankers.
And we can see now this point in the game where the comp that Rankers are running can begin to aggressively snowball on attack when you're cycling between your ISO ult and your Yoru ult. Both of them are so good for executing onto the sites. So in this next one, I'm assuming at some point we're going to see Kane use that to snatch one of the defending anchors into the 1v1, probably win it because it's Kane, and if not, they'll just run over to the body and find the kill.
Yeah, the thing about this though is I like what M80, M80 are putting a little bit of opening pressure on these choke points, especially through A, and it's really not making things comfortable in terms of being able to isolate early. And yeah, like you mentioned, the kill contract goes empty. Contingency sent across the site. KaneZera challenging inside the cyber cage, good for one. The reveal not going to be followed up on. Sensor drone though, deep and not going to make a difference. KaneZera, oh yeah, he's pushing forward, feeling himself. Shut down by B-Dog, but enough vacancy to allow the spike to be planted.
And as always, Inspire is ready on the flank for the backstab, gets his.
Oh, I'll say Ion in trouble here, but that gunfight win now essentially throws Okeanos out of the normal possibility of trying to commit for this, especially with the economy being broken. So, yeah, Rankers, not the way they designed it, but still,
no,
it works out nicely.
Yeah, all good though when Kane is able to just run through the cage with the shorty to kill Bao, who I'm sure he would have loved to take it into a 1v1 with the kill contract, but works just as well. And then even after that, Rankers have a 4 versus 3, but they just still keep pushing to take more duels, and they win them, But it is just a style of play that you're not going to see from anyone else.
Yeah, and this causes, like, I think a lot of headaches for M80 because, you know, the last handful of rounds, 3 of the last 4 in particular, they've thrown a good wealth of utility through A to try to control some of that space, but then they just kind of walk back off of it, giving some respect over to Rankers. I think it's just one of those things that Rankers are happy just to kind of show some disrespect and just push right through. I mean, even in this moment, you see M80 kind of in a spot where you think that they're going to be clean to hold the front door, and the only thing that gets them through the round is the fact that they were able to get the spike confused to halfway. Everything else for Rankers, though, has largely just been these straight-up heavy-handed pushes, not really caring too much about the lurk and just trying to show force early.
This comp is just so good at the actual fast play, execute. Yoru ISO duo is really, really strong. And I like that they brought the Fade into the mix here too. We've seen, you know, Sova be played. I'm thinking of T1 again, but they play the Sova instead of the Fade on this map. But again, it brings another ultimate into the mix that is really impactful for the attack side rounds. It's still just keeping up the pressure and getting into the sites, accelerating fast if you need to. And Poppin is just one away from getting the Nightfall active.
Yes, this should do.
Yeah, for the second Nightfall in maybe 8 rounds. Yeah, he's had good pace there.
I must wait.
Not a round you feel is going to be heavily contested as M80 are just on Sheriff's the Vandal, but we've seen this happen before, especially out of the hands of M80. All it takes is one shot to completely change things up, and Rankers are going to face at least some sort of patient respect towards this. Spy cam reveals just Eggster. So the C defense will feel pretty decent about their chances of at least holding through this dark cover for now. Just comes down to once this fades, what do you do for your setup? Because there's no trap wires here. There's no more spy cam. This is going to have to be one of those, again, like you just have to get good contact, find a good first blood.
Poppin has just rotated over to the A side. He's sending out a Prowler towards Rubble, saying, hey, we're trying to re-clear. We're trying to get into this space of the map as they've cut noise and are actually just trying to contact into C.
Double tap to be active. Contingency also played. KaneZera doesn't really find much value off that. There's a good follow-up flash, though, and B-Dog will be shut down. So now the reset. Off the double tap coming through once again as KaneZera looks to push out. You see the salvo coming across over through Waterfall, and KaneZera is in a perfect spot to deal with it. There's also a pinch on the way from Inspire just in case that got sloppy, but we're looking likely at what very well could be a Rankers flawless round.
Absolutely. Inspire in prime position to get a couple, but that's not going to happen. Kasato a little bit too quick.
Well, he's got a rifle to work with.
Yeah, he gets the rifle, but it shouldn't ultimately matter, and it definitely doesn't matter to the Envy economy, which is out of control.
Very true, my friend, very true. So it's been nothing but envy in the last 5 rounds after M80 were off to the races strong. The pistol, the follow-up, plus the pretty weak bonus if we're being candid. But since those opening 3 rounds, again, it just feels like M80 have really just kind of given up a lot of space, which is so weird to see, especially when you've got things like the ability of kind of funneling through a fault line with the Neon, with the Teo. It just feels like they should be dominating, especially the opening space over towards a Rebel, but largely they haven't really gone to that kind of trap play.
And in that round against the Ecos, you can see Kane0 just hunting for kills so he can get another kill contract. He's 1 away, and you still have Poppin's Nightfall on a round where you can break M80's economy. The snowball is just continuing to build with this comp on attack.
Face your fear!
Well, Nightfall will be used for the execute here for Rankers. And the kill contract does come through to clear out Waterfall. It's Kane0 versus Caillou. Walls will fall. Kane0 gets the win. And that may just determine the round right here because you still have Inspire watching the flank through mid. Yeah, you're going to get a post plant here on top of this. This is looking very convincing for Rankers.
That is a really cool angle from Inspire. Usually was just trying to push through B, find timings to backstab, but that time plays it passively. Lets the M80 team search for him, and all the while he was laying a little trap of his own.
Well, not enough off the timeout here, Wyatt, to inspire much confidence for M80, trying to make adjustments on the defense. I mean, the only thing really different is that they do spend quite a bit to get Sato forward at A, but trusting Bao essentially by himself over on the C site has not merited much success lately. And again, it makes life difficult when you get your support system through Waterfall taken away immediately by the kill contract, but still, it's just, this execute towards C has been finding a lot of value for Rankers.
Yeah, and just trying to anchor against this comp is a nightmare. Like,
True,
you have the
yeah.
Yoru trying to teleport behind you. You have the ISO with a shield in your face. There's so much going on that they just want to play it for retake, but ultimately unable to do so. I mean, there may be a moment of respite here for M80 though, that they don't actually have to deal with any Rankers ults. Egster hasn't been getting many kills, hasn't been getting close to the dimensional drift. So at least they'll have a round where they don't have to deal with that.
Yeah. First time we're going to see something develop early for Rankers around the middle of the map, but that's pushed off by a follow-up smoke. That's actually both dark covers tossed by B-Dog. He had a one-way on the corner towards C Mountain that's already dissipated. And Rankers will read that and say, well, maybe we can get some space back here. And once again, just over-isolate. Because look at Inspire. He's gotten so much space over through A. All he needs to do is create maybe a little bit of noise to open the doors for this execute.
Contingency wall going to come through, counter paranoia. M80, they want to get into the site and fight together. Kane0 is caught alone.
Yeah.
The rest of the Rankers are trying to get to the A site where Inspire has gotten them some space.
There is a deep setup here, though, for M80, thanks to Bao. One trap wire already deleted. This is going to have to be a one-dimensional retake. All of it largely coming from the drop spot, but Bao finds the first elimination. Now the neural theft comes out. So much information going to be gathered here for M80. Can they find the kills that they need, though? Inspire inside his own cyber cage. Makes life difficult on the drop, but the trades are good. And M80 quick to respond, use their numbers, and find a way to get back on the winning side of the scoreboard.
Rankers trying to take advantage of Inspire's position to rotate back. But ultimately, it just doesn't really work out. They're not finding the success on these attack rounds, really, when they haven't just been slamming sites together. It was the same on this. Like, as soon as they just started running down sites, they started winning attack rounds. And here, trying to fall back out of C, allow Kane to take all of the attention, try and get the A site for free, it just does not end up working the same.
Yeah, Rankers, I think, was just a lot of commitment trying to play that post plant a little bit further forward towards ropes. But M80 were set up for that foul in particular. Never allowing them to get too far into the site. Early Prowler will get mound control here for Rankers. Not a lot of effort towards C, and Inspire may go back to that same angle he was holding from before.
All right, they're going to proc the door, try and show some presence towards B, or at least fake they could be showing presence towards B, trying to execute there. And maybe have the double setup for that as the stealth drone is going to re-clear towards C and definitely get some valuable information for M80.
And these smokes just trying to be a small obstacle here. Controlling the speed of which rankers want to play at. Defense is stacked very far forward on this B approach as well for this 2-2-1 split off.
Yeah, Poppin made a ton of noise towards A, but previously when they did this, it was also a fake and they were going C. I mean, he haven't moved, but that's a great entry.
And a follow-up right there from Inspire as he rotates back over through B. Okeanos has committed to playing on site. Sees Ion on the corner, tries to take away the angle, but can only find one. Sato also committing in through Waterfall, but no, KaneZera just shuts that down completely. The ISO ripping apart this M80 defense as Rankers will guarantee themselves a 7th round.
M80 had the read on the situation perfectly, but they just could not collect the kills. It was a great first entry from KaneZera, and then Inspire hits that timing where you hear someone rotating across the site in B, and you could just go for a jiggle peek in main. Gets a pretty free kill himself. And that is often the trouble of playing against rankers. Even when you have the read on the situation, they're just going to win 1v1s.
And I think the thing about this too is compositionally, rankers are executing on their advantages pretty much perfectly. Just stacking, overwhelming, put the pressure on, allowing a Kane to kind of get free entry. You open with the Prowler to kind of get through these choke points, and then you just pop the double tap, get in, force the gunfights on your own terms. And again, it's just, I think, a little surprising that M80 haven't tried to throw some sort of a trap play out. See if you can get some of that utility out earlier, and now not allow it to stack on you, playing in the backside of these sites. It's just, there is, you know, a multifaceted design, though, with the ability for KaneZera to walk in or Exter teleport in. It is difficult, but I'm so surprised that M80 haven't tried to play for some sort of aggression off the barriers dropping.
Yeah, you are right. Or even in the mid round, like they on that prior round, they knew everyone was stacked up outside of C. They had the read on it, but they're not trying to find a window to go for something aggressive. But our last round and a half, and again, KaneZera is 1 away from the kill contract. Could have his 3rd of the first half.
But on the other side, Rolling Thunder Armageddon combination at the ready for M80. Self-thrown doesn't fully check the corner. Inspire will delete it. The execute already on the way through A. The Prowler in towards mid, and Inspire just again comes with a huge first blood. Okeanos puts together a 4v4 response. Bow over the top of the ropes. Oh, he actually finds KaneZera. Caught a little bit by surprise. Plus gets a reveal on the site, and now the Armageddon can stop this plan or at least find elimination. Maybe off of it, not fully. Bow good to follow up behind it. Exter, Ion still holding though. Hold on a second. 2v2 now the call. Salvo gonna be called through. Exter and Ion largely playing this on the tree side of the map, but Exter finds the first. P-Dog trying to spam through, finds the opening trade, but cannot tally another, and Rankers will come away 8-4 on the first half.
Feels pretty miraculous that they did so, honestly, in that round. Exter stepping up, been a little bit quiet today, but found some crucial kills late into that round. And Ion coming in, nail in the coffin, swinging from tree. But M80, really, their utility was better there. I liked what they were doing as a team. That was a great Armageddon. Now, is this going to be enough for rankers on attack? It's definitely the side that they favor pretty much across the board. On all the maps I've seen them on, they look better on attack. Will 8 rounds be enough against M80? You know, Lotus typically used to be an attacker's favorite map anyway. I don't know the exact numbers now since the meta has changed and there's so many different comps on it, but you know, if that still rings true on top of things, I can absolutely see M80 making this a really close game.
Oh, look at this. Rankers heavy stack. Oh, the Prowler part of it. Wow, Sato still comes with 1 somehow, but not enough. As now Inspire realizes that, yep, he is going to have to play his life as best as humanly possible. A lot of these numbers come off the long flank, and wow, he's actually held them at this choke point longer than you would have anticipated. So yeah, this quick hit from around the back may work out as M80 still cannot find eyes onto Inspire. They deal with the trap. The hunt is on, but here comes the flank. And well, they do get deep into sight. They can set up their post plant on the defensive side. KaneZera, a couple of damage shots in, but they can't find the kill. Also, the paranoia cutting through perfectly. M80 follow up nicely, deal with the pinch, and get the pistol.
That was beautiful from M80 to find that kill. Backside onto Inspire, get more control of the map. I like that trip from Inspire was placed deep. He could play back in halls, so he would know if someone is trying to cross. They broke it, and then they just realized, wait, he's definitely back halls. Let's just flash and try to find this kill. We need to even things up. They do that, and then they're able to fight as a team together with everyone from Rankers coming back from main. That was really well played. Must-win pistol round. They convert.
Fastlane coming through quickly with flashes behind this. Egster just gets out of there, not interested in taking that battle. So a Rebel controlled, and Sato's going to get to work trying to win through tree as well. At least taking a peek in towards it. But look at Rankers. Oh, they're just all going to step up into this dark cover and see if they can overwhelm. Sato's been seen, but doesn't make a difference. The flash follow-up is not good enough to win against this type of firepower. Aftershock will also make life miserable here for KaneZera. Even tallies the final part of the elimination. And Inspire with a classic from behind. Well, if you can't take it by the candor of my voice, you don't feel very hopeful for this 1v4.
Here.
Not particularly. Also, M80 have done a good job of just farming orbs over to Caillou to get an early rolling thunder. Got a bunch of kills on the pistol, cleans up a couple here, gets the orb, and they give him the plant. I mean, listen, it takes a hell of a lot of orbs to get your breach ult, but already 2 rounds in, he's just 2 away. And now he's just got the sheriff, so he can go hunt, try to get another one, and just be 1 away.
I mean, how much do you attribute that storyline to the success that M80 have had just in general? Because that elimination there gets them 1 off. And we talked about the same things on Abyss, but instead of it being onto the breach, it was onto the Yoru. And how much value did that find? So again, it's just M80 getting priority over the orbs, and they're doing a nice job from the offensive side, I think in particular, to give themselves the advantages they want.
We'll have to see when it comes to the buy too, but they might be inspired now to just force as much into this as they can off the back of getting an orb and the breach ult. Now, they don't go too crazy with it, actually, really at all. I mean, Bao's just sitting with the sheriffs. They don't want to overinvest yet.
Well, Fastlane once again for M80, just breaking down any opening angles towards A, but the deeper smoke placed from Ion allows them to get some control there. Inspire's also showing some force here right at the front doors of C. Does not have that same passive setup, so he's going to need help, and it's already on the way.
He's going to need a lot of help. One-way cage will keep him alive for now. Ranker's trying to get into the site.
Oh, wow. Great timing from Inspire. He's going to take down 2. Now Egster off of his decoy. Whoa. It's over in the blink of an eye. But what a play from Inspire. He needed the help, and he got it appropriately, but flat out, he also dominated individually with the opening 2 eliminations.
I mean, if he's playing in such a dangerous position, but that one-way cage is so cool to obscure the view onto him on top of the box. They don't even realize he's there when Sato goes down initially. Okeanos is still just trying to pay attention elsewhere when the flash comes through. Really cool setup.
Absolutely love it. So the bonus gets shut down, but now we got our first full gun round for both these 2 squads. And again, Rankers showing force of presence in towards A and through it, but M80 have not given up on this Prowler. Followed up with the Paranoia. Rankers gonna give this a peek, maybe a little bit more than that. Decoy flash also triggered, but that will be the end of this contact as a smoke will have this stay at a 5v5 until KaneZera gets the read on B-Dog trying to lurk through B.
It's going to be such a nightmare to try and execute without smokes now, and Rankers want to fight forward. Still, they just don't want to give up rubble.
Well, Egster, Ion working on a crossfire setup. Oh, great damage. Allows a little bit of a tee-off moment here. Egster eventually traded, but yeah, the front doors that A completely shut down, and you're absolutely right. Once they lose out on the smokes, there's just no way to retake onto the forward position that Rankers had.
Bao gets 1, but it's probably just going to end up being a consolation. Ion ready to swing and clean things up. The Rankers side are just ruthless with the A control. They threw everything that they had at main and then still just maintain a crossfire there later.
All right, this is going to force M80 to have to spend maybe fault lines earlier than they maybe want to, just to make sure that they can get some space to even get a setup on. That, or use one of the 2 dark covers that you really want for those executes on the site as well, just to break down what exactly Rankers can see. But yeah, this show of force from Rankers has not really been contested on either side of the spike, if we're being honest, at this point.
Cover going out.
M80 forced back onto another eco.
Cage
We mentioned, and importantly so, how early they got that Rolling Thunder. Haven't had a chance to use it.
No.
Just hasn't mattered at all. That could have gotten them in the driver's seat of the game if they had a good opportunity to get that off early, and they still are just holding on to it. And at this point, everyone in the server is going to have their ults. It just doesn't even really matter.
Yeah. Well, we've got some forward trap wires with the spy cam out of Inspire. Fault line will actually land onto him top side rope, so no chance to follow up off of some of this information. Popping now on the cross. Sees one, a couple of spam shots go a bit awry, not quite able to connect, but Inspire off the drop, gets the lineup for 2. The shotgun for B-Dog, sure, nice to have at least one elimination coming through, but there's going to be nothing behind that, as Bao is the last one left for the Sheriff.
And I know Kinzera definitely wants to hunt this kill down, get the kill contract yet again, and there it is.
What do you do against that, Wyatt? You
nothing.
You just fold your arms across
nothing.
your chest and say, all right.
It's over. You can't play the game in that situation. With a Sheriff against, he's got the shield up, it's over. It's just over. M80 take a timeout on a round that is obviously must win.
Yeah.
Rankers have 11. Their economy will be broken if they lose. They have big ultimates to play with. They're close to, or have a big ultimate, but they're close to Satos, close to Okeanos. This is everything for them.
Mm-hmm. And I think the conversation first and foremost has to be like, again, how do we just get some room to work with early and force this Rankers team that has just largely been playing off of heavy-handed approaches and stacks to feel a little bit more stretched out on a 3-site map? I mean, so many of these executes that we've seen come through have been dealt with by Rankers getting 2-3 members forward on these sites, not just in the sites, but forward. I think this round in particular was a prime example of that. Inspires by himself, gets good information, calls for the rotation, gets 2 defenders with them. This has been every single fight. Rankers have had numbers advantages, especially on this defensive half.
If they want to, M80, it doesn't look like this round would be a situation for it, but I wouldn't even be mad at them on a round where on A, Rankers are pushing aggressively down. They expend so much of their util. After they've done so, get in there with the Rolling Thunder and
why
re-clear,
not?
because it's popping and an ISO playing close. You could get those free kills.
Oh, this is critical. Spam shots are good. Yeah, Exer is trying to play a cheeky corner. The gate crash back, not going to be allowed. And there is that Rolling Thunder. Not taking any chances here on M80. Oh, but still, off the trap wire. How big has Inspire been? The help is now in the site. Oh, my goodness. Are you kidding me? Bao now the last one left. Decent connection onto one, but the flank is on the way, and Poppin is playing with his food. Still, though, maybe a little bit too free. If Bao finds an isolation on the back, there may be a chance to clutch this.
Yeah, throws down the cage so he could try to take a 1 versus 1, so he thinks Ion could be there.
This timing, though, is going to be everything. And no, not going to happen. Inspire stepping up again. In the face of a Rolling Thunder, still finds his way back onto the platform, uses his own utility to convert a couple of eliminations, and then Rankers again, full flood back through and never allow M80 to plant.
He has been a brick wall. Multiple first bloods on defense now as well, whether that be catching the lurk or just anchoring a site in spectacular fashion. Stunned up, gets that first kill onto Sato. I mean, he wasn't a trip, but still tough to do. And then immediate neural theft as well. Gets the rest of the info. This jump up timing. I mean, he's a madman, but it's all just working so well.
Now we got an early kill contract.
No, I mean, that should be illegal. That's ban-worthy.
Yeah, Class A felony.
No,
right
if I went up against that in ranked, I'm just reporting that player for everything. Like anything you can report a player for in the menu.
Oh, goodness.
My eyes are done.
That is just messed up, man.
So early numbers here for Rankers, and Kinzera may get a little bit more. Wow, great damage coming through. Just trying to play the anti-flash. Nightfall also cutting through, and it's just a bullet hose that, well, spam shot's not going to work out. Poppin holds down the trigger to secure one more through mid-map, and again, it's just M80 or a 3v4 with no map control.
What
I know
are we
exactly
watching, man? What is happening? It is chaos. Papa just trying to get out of the way, but does get caught. M80 have an opportunity.
Dimensional drift going to be used. Try to contest. Dark cover to block off the entryway towards B. Inspire rotating over. Has Bow on the cross. And Exter is finding info on all three of these post-plant now defenders. May not make a difference though for the opener. Okeanos also following up. Leaves it just down to Inspire, and M80, after being bullied in the first 15 seconds, survive, get a spike plant, and hold on to a 3v3 post-plant.
Perhaps Rankers getting a little bit too silly in that round and punished for the silliness. But KaneZera, he's going to go back to the well and get another Odin. And the Odin is good on this map on defense. You just don't typically see it being used like this, the run-and-gun Bronze 3 maneuver, where you just hold down mouse 1 and never stop moving. I respect it, though. I really do.
Here we go again. M80 throwing up the fast lane early. Does not stop Rankers from continuing to push up behind this dark cover, though. Caillou just getting to work with a couple of spam shots. Not going to land. Paranoia once again cut early as Rankers are just so quick to take away so much space. And now you have to stop and deal with this for M80. You cannot allow Rankers to hold control in towards a lobby like that.
B-Dog is in a pretty crazy position right now. Do they read this? They actually... Oh, no, they don't. It looked like Kane was going to check. He can't be allowed to get 2.
Now he's able to teleport back with his squad, too. So it's going to be a 5-man hit right to Inspire's direction. On this salvo will push him off the ramps. Can he find an angle? Good shots there, pretty clean, but Caillou responds. Now to the 4v2. Rankers still decent with cash, could give this a look. Just comes down to will they actually commit, especially with Extra on half HP.
Economy is still pretty good for Rankers. They could try to make a go at this if they'd like to, and of course they would. It's Rankers.
Last player standing.
Well, that made the turret completely, though. Extra drops. Ion on the cross. No, Sato just a little wide peek. Will keep M80 alive. You still got the overdrive at the ready. Caillou about halfway up to another Rolling Thunder. So again, if you talk about comeback opportunities, there are tools that are getting closer to coming online. But, I mean, it's the same pacing essentially, though, for Rankers, especially considering that they've got another at least 3 rounds to farm up some of these ults.
And it's not like I expect anything else but Rankers to play like they're not down a map and just run at them with an Odin.
Yeah.
But you're gonna get punished by good teams for that. And M80 are a really quality team right now.
Similar setup this time for both teams at the front doors at A. Haunt will again allow Rankers to get full control at A rubble. Sato gonna have to push back off. Similar setup again. They're even gonna commit. Oh my, deeper. This is all 4 members for Rankers taking A lobby control. It's going to force the hand of M80, and they're going to decide to re-flip this back through door over towards Inspire's direction at C.
He step up, though, again as the anchor. He has been so lethal on this site.
Oh, not this time. Overdrive also allowing M80 to get deeper through this C site. And they've got B-Dog responsible for the flank. Do Rankers do their due diligence and clear this position out? Looks like they're checking for it, and yeah, easy elimination for KaneZera. Is there a chance to try to pinch this with the play from Extra at Waterfall? No, they shut that down. Now the only chance of the retake has to come through Mound. Caillou still holding on to a lot of utility. Fault line coming through. Easy follow-up from Bao. Just looking for KaneZera. And what would have to be a 1v4. Gets the first clean leap, but this is a high, mid, and low stack for M80. And there's just no chance he breaks that down. M80 get to 9.
M80 just counter Rankers pathing on that round perfectly. They commit 4 people to running it down A, fully force into it to the extent that Extra just has a stinger. They draw out all of the util from Rankers. I mean, by the time Rankers have control of A, and this has been the case, I think on every single time we've seen them do that, Poppin has legitimately nothing left. He uses both Prowlers, the C's, and the Haunt straight away. Multiple flashes, from Extra. Kane throwing out the, I always forget what it's called, the suppress invulnerable one, not the contingency, the other one.
Undercut.
The undercut. They use so much, and they just get completely circumvented. The C site hit comes in. They have no util left for the retake. M80 are looking good. They're countering how Rankers are playing, and it feels like Rankers already thought they won the game. But guys, you didn't win the game, and also you're down a map. So you really need to win this game, or you're going to the lower bracket, and they're taking their first loss as a team that we've seen yet. They are undefeated at the moment.
Well, this round's going to be messy because it's just going to be Sheriffs and a Hero Vandal for Zera. So expect M80 to get double digits. I think the thing about this is what other mind games can M80 play in this round with Rankers? Because we've kind of seen them counter by way of just avoiding the battle at A and then just taking their numbers elsewhere. And it looks like that might be the case once again, as it's the same utility thrown out from both sides. Rankers will get a little bit of A rubble control, but this time they're going to back away and see if they can get a stack up over the middle of the map.
Next.
Big first.
B-Dog gets caught by Kane. This could be the beginning of the end.
Yeah.
Bring them down.
Poppin wants to recover that rifle.
Oh, no.
Inspire finds the perfect timing. Not like this.
Now you got 3 rifles in a 5v3. And of course the information that M80 are stacked up at A. They have to commit to this. The slower this takes, the worse off they're going to be, because Ion has plenty of utility to keep himself alive and wait for this long flank or the connection play through mid. Backs away after Paranoia gets tossed. Follow from Caillou is clean though. Now you gotta respond to the kill contract. Shots are not there. M80 take this to a 2v2. Inside tree, Poppin shut down. Now it's just down to Inspire. Sato looking for the plant. Can Inspire isolate for the 1v1? Salvo comes through. I'm pretty that's actually the proximity they could throw, and Okianos follows up. M80 survive, if only just barely.
Insane that they were able to recover that. Caillou going massive on the site, able to find 2. Ion stunned up, teleporting away, just couldn't get the gun back out in time, or rather just, you know, go back to a non-stunned status. Just got shut down. I can't believe they were able to convert that. B-Dog,
Yeah.
oh, God knows what was happening there. And then a 6 shot from Inspire. Okianos wins out the 1v1, and we're right back into it. Same opening that we've seen over and over.
The difference here, though, White, is that they're not committing as many numbers. It's the same utility, but as soon as you throw out your Fade utility, you're quickly rotating back, and they also gate crash back. But look at the counter. M80 are saying, we've done this a handful of times. Now we're going to try for something different, and they're going to counter with the Rolling Thunder that does connect. But the teleport back away allows Ion to get out of there. Good from the shadows. Will stay 5v5.
That was a really nice escape. Oh my God, Poppin dinked and down to 14 HP. Orb onto Okianos, who's 1 away from the Armageddon.
Yeah.
Cage triggered.
But look at the question marks here for Rankers. No information gathering tools on A, so they're still leaning this direction. Inspire. Oh, he's got the isolation on DeBao, though. So no lurk play going to be allowed. This makes Rankers feel a little bit more comfortable, but here comes the quick push from M80. And keep in mind, Okianos, he's got an orb here, so he can use the Armageddon if he wants to clear out the site, and that looks like exactly what's going to happen. The quick push back through. Inspire trying to stay alive on the site. Poppin working with them. Inspire may catch an angle. Oh, he's going to do it again up top. Inspire for 2. Responded by M80 for a moment, but Zera gets the reach into the double tap, and he will make good on it. Rankers deny the comeback. 13-10, and we're going 3.
M80 really had me believing for those last 4 or 5 rounds. They were punishing every mistake that Rankers were making, who were playing like they had already won the game. Inspire was lights out on that map. The anchoring on the C site was phenomenal. And on that last round, just catching out Bao, who crossed to the left side of main, finding that opening. And then beyond that, because he killed the Cypher, the rest of the team thought, oh, they must be hitting elsewhere. So Inspire was left alone on the site, and then it still comes up huge, gets 2 more playing within his cages. He was fantastic and absolutely the MVP of that map.
Needed a big performance out of him because you mentioned he's isolated in almost every single moment. He provides not just for 1, but often 2 eliminations, not allowing M80 to get back into the mix after things were starting to move and change. But the opening just too strong. A little bit of cheese, a little bit of trolling, a little bit of running gun with the Odin. Never hurt anybody. It's not true. It's hurt a lot of people, I'm sure, in ranked matches. That's going to get us through map number 2, though. A 1-1 count as we still have 1 more map to go here. Our opening day of playoffs for Valorant Challengers. We'll be right back.
We started extremely late. I kid you not, we have 3 weeks of practice. I said this in the first week. We walked into the first week having 1 week of practice, right? But the amount of work that we've put in compared to everyone else is absurd. It's like an hour and a half to nearly 2 hours of server, 4 blocks, and review afterwards, and with homework afterwards, right? The team is like gelling together pretty consistently. Obviously every team has some days where we're peaking higher than others. I think we recognize what we need to fix instantly, and I think that's what makes this team so special. I always put 100% into whatever team that chooses to play with me. Obviously, Blinn was a more unknown team. It was like a collegiate esports club. While M80 is like, the principal of tier 2, they have made essentially grand finals twice now, so they obviously have that level of prestige to them, and so that obviously has to affect my demeanor as well when it comes to just overall like how I present myself, right? Because right now I'm not just establishing and representing like a group of people that enjoy the game. I'm representing like a high profile organization that has had tons of gravity in the tier 2 scene, right? So I obviously have to hold myself up to a higher standard, and I'm trying to do that. But I'm also blessed and grateful that I was chosen to be able to, fill in the shoes. It's great to work with Don. Don always, keeps us in check. Drew is mainly on the strategic side, and Don is mostly on the performance and mental side. Obviously, we are younger players, so obviously sometimes we can get a bit volatile. Not volatile. That might be a bad way to say it, but like sometimes we do have too much fun in practice, and Don reels us back in, keeps us in line, makes us remember our practice goals, and it's great to have someone that not keeps you in check, but holds you to a professional level 24/7. I've set high expectations for myself this year. I want this year to potentially be a breakout year for me, but at the same time, I can't set too high, because if I set too high and if I don't reach those goals, I'll come down like this extremely fast. So it's just a week at a time. Put all my focus into whoever I play first. So this week I played TSM, and then so that's all. Just 1 week at a time.